Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. Today we've got something a little bit different for you. I'm joined by Christopher Guerin, Sweetwater's Director of Program Development. Thanks for being here.
You bet.
You know, over the years I've done, I guess, 40 of these Sweetwater Minutes now. I've done a ton of other videos, a lot of seminars. A lot of my work shows up on the Sweetwater website. And we're often asked, who is this guy? Who is this Mitch Gallagher guy? Where did he come from? Why doesn't he ever shut up? So today I've got Christopher here. I can't interview myself, so he's going to ask a few questions.
So let's begin.
Okay.
Mitch, what do you do here at Sweetwater?
Well, my title here at Sweetwater is Editorial Director, which ostensibly means that I'm in charge of all the content for Sweetwater's publications, whether they're on the web, whether they're print publications. I oversee everything that has words that comes out of Sweetwater. So there's our Sweet Notes newsletter, there's the Pro Gear catalogs that go out, there's the daily In Sync newsletter, which I write. I do these Sweetwater Minutes, I do a lot of product videos, I do training for the sales engineers. I'm also here to serve as a resource for the sales engineers, so when they have questions they need answered, technical kinds of things, I help with a lot of that stuff as well. So I do a variety of different special projects and a lot of different stuff.
Well, and as people who've watched these videos know, you are also an accomplished musician. So if you put the writing and the editing and the playing all together, how did you get into this?
Well, I'm originally from a small town in North Dakota, Jamestown, which for trivia buffs is the home of the world's largest buffalo. And I started playing guitar in high school, like a lot of guys, played in a high school band. Went to college, studied electrical engineering and computer programming, and then I left college, went on the road with the rock band, and eventually also got into a country band and toured for a couple of years. Then I went back and got my degree in music. I went from there to Kansas City, where I went to graduate school, studied composition and classical guitar. While I was there, I also started my first project studio. I did a lot of recording. I did a lot of work in my studio for different people and a lot of composing as well. And you know, I was kind of tired of going to school. I wanted to change. Saw an ad in a magazine, and it was for Sweetwater. I applied and was soundly rejected. Then a few months later, they called me back and had me come in for an interview, and that was the first time I was at Sweetwater. That was in 1992.
So tell us a little bit about that first stint here at Sweetwater, and then how did you go away, and what did you do, and then what brought you back?
Right. So I came here in 1992, and I was in sales. I was actually the 5th salesman at Sweetwater. At the time, it was a little metal building in the center of a gravel parking lot. Was the extent of the company. There were, I think, 20 people working at the company at that time. And I was in sales for several years, and eventually moved into doing more marketing kinds of things for Sweetwater. I did the first print catalog. I started the In Sync daily newsletter. I started with another of the sales engineers here, the Sweetwater University training program. So I was doing a lot of different things for Sweetwater. But then I had the opportunity to go to Keyboard Magazine and be the technical editor. I went there in 1998. I was technical editor and later senior technical editor at Keyboard for 2 years, and made the move from there over to EQ in 2000. So I was the editor-in-chief at EQ Magazine until 2005. Around that time, the magazine business shifted quite a bit. A lot of things changed. I contacted Chuck, the owner of Sweetwater. We'd stayed friends over the years, and worked out to come back here, and it's been great. I came back as editorial director, and I'm having a lot of fun.
In addition to all the writing and the video work that you do here, you are also on your own still writing and producing books and DVDs. Tell us a little bit about your own separate career.
Yeah, I also, outside of Sweetwater, I do some writing for some different magazines. I still write for Acoustic Guitar Magazine and some others on a fairly regular basis. And I've published 6 books through 3 different publishers. The first book was Make Music Now, which was for home studio enthusiasts. I've done a book on Pro Tools, I've done a book on studio business, a book on acoustics, a book on mastering, and my last one was a book on, it was actually a music technology dictionary, which if you've never written a dictionary, I really don't recommend it. It's a challenging task.
Well, but you've been doing that for ages now with the word of the day here. I mean, that's
true.
Second nature for you, I'm sure.
That's true, yeah. The word for the day and the tech tip of the day are mine as well, so I've done a lot of those.
So one thing that probably most people aren't aware of is that, and I don't think you're the only Sweetwater employee now to have won a Grammy. You're certainly the first one to have won a Grammy. Tell us about that.
Right. When I was in graduate school, I was studying electronic music composition, and I came up with an idea for writing a piece of music based on the Fibonacci number series. So I'd come up with a way to take the Fibonacci number series and mathematically apply it to the 12 pitches in the chromatic scale, and came up with this piece of music that was scored for synthesizers and for percussion ensemble. And it was recorded by an ensemble in Kansas City, along with synthesizers and the whole thing at a concert, and submitted to the NARAS people, and it ended up winning a NARAS award in, I think it was 1991.
A little bit more about your work as a writer. You have written a large number of magazine articles. I mean, how many over the years do you think?
Between the magazines and what I've written for Sweetwater's publications and things, I don't have an exact count, but I know when I came here it was something like 1,000, so it's probably 1,600 magazine articles, so quite a few words.
And your title is Editorial Director, so you're also an editor. You edit Pro Gear.
Yes, I just spent 2 weeks proofing every page of the 500-page Pro Gear catalog. I do that 3 times a year.
And all of the other publications that
Right.
go out from Sweetwater.
That's right. Right, the publications and the ads, and basically, like I said, anything with words that comes out of here is in my domain one way or the other.
More recently, you've gotten into the video realm. We've been producing the Sweetwater Minutes. Do you have any other background in video?
No, I really don't.
So this is all new.
This is it. You know, I've done a lot of teaching. When I was in college, I taught 30 guitar students a week. When I went to graduate school, I did quite a bit of teaching. Even when I was in college, I taught electronic music classes, I taught recording classes and labs and things. So I've done a lot of teaching, a lot of lectures. I've done seminars here in Europe. And so I've done a lot of that kind of thing, but this is really the first time I've spent much time in front of a camera or doing anything like that.
So you have a very unique job, really, for a company like this.
Right.
And it's somewhat of an expression of the special model, the business model of Sweetwater. Can you connect those dots for us?
Yeah, well, I kind of see it as I try to bring together a lot of the aspects of Sweetwater, the service aspect in that I'm available as a technical resource, but also kind of the exploratory aspect. Manufacturers tend to send me their new products. As they come out with prototypes, they'll send them to me for testing. When new products come out, they send them to me for review or for testing. Or in fact, I just had a manufacturer say, hey, we have a new idea for a product. Can we send you an email with all the specs, and can you give us your ideas and help fill us in? So I'm kind of helping to drive things from a variety of different directions. And plus, I get to have a ton of fun because, I mean, I'm totally obsessed with gear. So, I mean, what could be better than to get to play with new toys before anybody else?
Absolutely. And you do bring an enormous amount of credibility to Sweetwater when it comes to the expertise that really our entire company is trying to project to our customers.
Thank you.
So what's next for Mitch Gallagher?
Boy, this is a busy time for me, actually. But besides all of the Sweetwater stuff that's going on, I'm actually writing 2 books right now. I've got a book that'll be out in the fall on guitar tone, and then a book following that on building your own guitar. And I'm also working kind of on the side on a book on classical guitar technique. So I've got the 3 books going. In the past, I also did a DVD on mastering through the Multi-Platinum company, and we're hoping to do another DVD this summer as well. So there's a lot on my plate there, and then I've also got projects going in my studio and lots of stuff like that too.
Tell us a little bit about your studio. We've done at least 1 minute in your studio, and we're planning to do more.
Right. Well, I've always had a studio. When I was in college, I had a Commodore 64 and a Casio CZ101 and an RX21 Yamaha drum machine. And from there, it kind of grew to when I was in Kansas City, it developed more into a full-blown project studio with an ADAT recorder. I actually got in there into doing parody songs for a radio station. So they would call up with a song for the day, and I would do all the backing tracks, which was a tremendous education because I tried to be, I was obsessive about making them sound as close to the original as possible. Then they would take them and put their vocals on it. So that was a great training ground. I recorded some CDs for bands there as well. And so I continue to do that kind of thing. I'm also still writing music of my own. I write guitar music, acoustic guitar music, still play classical guitar, and I want to someday get some of that recorded. And lately, the last couple of years, I've also gotten into mastering. I just finished a project for a jazz guitarist in New York for his, I did 2 albums for him recently, so I've been kind of expanding out into that as well. So I stay fairly busy in my studio.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mitch. It's been great talking to you today.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope this has given you a little insight into what goes on behind the scenes here at the Sweetwater Minute and some of the other publications and things at Sweetwater. I'm Mitch Gallagher. Thanks for joining us for the Sweetwater Minute.